Hi all, I'm Alexei. Today I'm gonna share with you my little project with a station. We will start with my breadboard with components. I'll explain what placed where. Also you'll see a code, how to create a web server and deploy it to ThingSpeak. So let's start with a breadboard. So for connecting I'm using a standard breadboard. In my breadboard you'll see ESP32, BMP 280 and GY30 or BH1750. To connect power I use red wirings, ground is dark or black wirings, clock is yellow wirings, and SDA is a brown one. Finally it's looked like this. In the screen you see my web server, and let's see how I got this result. I decided to work in Arduino IDE because it's more directive for this task. As Visual Studio Code with Platform View, it's much bigger and absent-minded, and I think it's can create maybe linting errors unexpected, so it's really easier to work in Arduino IDE. So let's see. First of all, I included several libraries. It's my component libraries, Wi-Fi to connect to Wi-Fi, ThingSpeak to see the diagrams in my profile, and web server. Here I declared several variables which get value of libraries. Also my params variables, and here you see several constants of my Wi-Fi params. Here I declared several variables for ThingSpeak. It is my channel number, API key, and timer delay, which explain how many seconds delay between updates. In my case it will update it every 10 seconds. Here I start my web server. I declared a port of my web server as 18. Also here is my setup function. It's begin with bond number. Then I begin my components like BNP, also Wi-Fi. I created little while loop which define if my Wi-Fi connected, and in case it's not, it will give me a dot in my serial monitor. If it's okay, I just got my IP address and Wi-Fi connected message. Then I begin my wiring, light meter, and I declared path and function, which we'll see later. What's going server do on this path. If it's not defined, I declared another function. This function I declared in the end. So handle and connect, I just assign several values to variables and just send to the server HTML. HTML you will see later. Then I begin my ThingSpeak to see real-time information about weather and other params. In void loop, first of all, I make a little condition which looks like this, and next I started handle client on my server, declared several variables, and add these values to serial monitor. It's about temperature, altitude, and pressure and lux. Then I set field in ThingSpeak. My first diagram will have a temperature, second altitude, third pressure, and fourth lux. So next I just define my ThingSpeak account and more precisely my channel number, and write a key for this channel. Then little condition: if I got 200 response, I will print channel update successfully, and then make my last time be equal to my list. So here my functions for connection, and finally my HTML functions and HTML function, which has several options like temperature, pressure, altitude, and lux, which I using here. I created one long string and add values to it with HTML, also little styling, and finally I show my information about altitude and other stuff in the monitor, in my HTML. So in the serial monitor you can see many values. It's first of all which I declared, my API, and it updates every 10 seconds. So in the web server you see values of my parameters. We can update it and got new values. And finally in the ThingSpeak we see my diagrams, which show last 100, I think, values about temperature, altitude, pressure, and lux. So that's it. I hope you enjoy my project. Goodbye.